Yeah, when he wanted to get into jacuzzi, I knew I was in trouble. Like, wait.
This was the moment Samantha Geimer's life changed forever. At this moment, the 13-year-old girl became part of one of the most infamous rape cases ever. Infamous because the other person was Roman Polanski, an Oscar-winning director. But Geimer wouldn't be his only victim. This story is of a criminal who not only walks free even after pleading guilty, but is also big in the celebrity world. On February 1st, 1977, Roman Polanski, a well-known film director, was introduced to 13-year-old Samantha Geimer, as she was then called. He told her and her mother he was taking photographs of young girls for the French men's magazine Vogue Homme. On March 10th, he took her to his friend Jack Nicholson's house on Mulholland Drive and gave her champagne and part of a quaalude. They got into the jacuzzi, and later he had sexual intercourse with her. Mind you, she was 13 years old at the time, and Polanski knew it. He gave her a quaalude for the purpose of raping her. Polanski then drove her home to her mother's house. Their different accounts of that drive would contribute to the strange existential details of this saga. She said they drove in near silence. He says she recited Shakespeare, not very well. At home, Samantha confided what had happened to her with her former boyfriend. Her sister overheard her and told their mother, who, on the advice of her accountant, called the police. The following day, Polanski was arrested at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. Most details of what happened on March 10th come from Samantha, last name now Geimer's, testimony before a grand jury, which would normally have been kept sealed to protect her. Such documents, which contain raw information unexamined in a trial court, have the legal status of a witch hunt when they get out, and are taken as fact. Yet Judge Rittenband publicly leaked details from it in a way that seemed to intentionally cast doubt on the character of Samantha and her mother. Geimer is sometimes still portrayed, she told Marina Zinovich, as a little girl with a stage mother from hell. In his autobiography, Roman by Polanski, published in 1984, Polanski was unwisely unapologetic about the incident. It showed him unrepentant, or at least defiant. He insisted that the sex was consensual. She wasn't unresponsive, he wrote. Geimer, incensed, responded by suing him in 1988 for sexual assault, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and seduction of a minor. In 1993, Polanski agreed to pay Geimer $500,000 with interest. Geimer's allegations is only the latest entry in a long labyrinth story that's spanned decades. The story of the Polanski trial is the story of a fiendishly complex case, of extradition requests and potentially corrupt judges, discretionary plea bargains, and secret off-the-record meetings. But the whole thing is built around one very simple, generally uncontested fact. Roman Polanski raped and sodomized a 13-year-old. By his own admission, Polanski has always been drawn to girls in their teens. He met his current wife, Emmanuelle Seigneur, when she was 19 and he was 52. In his autobiography, he speaks candidly of going to bed with 15-year-old girls as a grown man. And when he describes the girls, all between 16 and 19 years old, who visited him in the late 60s while he was grieving the death of his second wife, Sharon Tate, he writes that they were more beautiful in a natural, cultish way than they ever would be again. Whenever he writes about this attraction, Polanski tends to paint the teen girl in question as a mature, fully grown human being who just happens to be fresher, more natural, and more beautiful than adult women are. Teen girls have the power in the situation, he writes, and he is just a weak man, helpless against their charms, as he seems to believe is true of all men. According to The Guardian, Roman Polanski said in a 1979 interview, "If I had killed somebody, it wouldn't have had so much appeal to the press, you see? And the young girls. Judges want to F-word young girls. Jurors want to F-word young girls. Everyone wants to F-word young girls." The Polanski trial for the rape of Samantha Geimer promised to be sensational. Polanski was a celebrated artist, and after the death of his wife Sharon Tate, who was murdered in the couple's home along with 4 other people by members of the Charles Manson family, he bore an attractive aura of grief and martyrdom. And now he was accused of a sex crime. The media salivated. Geimer's lawyer, Lawrence Silver, did not want his young client anywhere near the circus. In grand jury testimony, she had already admitted that she was not a virgin when Polanski raped her, and that she had taken quaaludes before, both facts of which the press would undoubtedly have a field day. He told the district attorney's office that he didn't want her to testify. and the office offered Polanski a plea bargain. He took it. Polanski pleaded guilty to felony statutory rape, the least serious of the charges he faced. Rape with the use of drugs, also on the table, carried a minimum sentence of 3 years, while the minimum sentence for statutory rape was 1 year. Before the sentencing, Polanski was sent to state prison for his mental evaluation, which he left after its completion 42 days later. That's all the time he would see inside of a jail cell. Over the fear of being sentenced to 50 years in prison, Polanski fled the United States, came back to France, and has been a fugitive since. Samantha Geimer, who changed her name to Samantha Geimer, wouldn't be the first person to be associated with Polanski in such a manner either. 5 other women have come forward with allegations of being raped by Polanski when they were teenagers. In 2010, British actress Charlotte Lewis said that Polanski sexually abused her in the worst possible way in 1983, when she was 16 and working on his movie Pirates. "He took advantage of me, and I have lived with the effects of his behavior ever since it occurred," Lewis said. "All I want is justice." According to the New York Times, Renate Langer, a 61-year-old former German actress, reported to the Swiss police in September of 2017 that the film director, Roman Polanski, raped her at a house in Gstaad in February of 1972 when she was 15. The same year, a woman who gave her name only as Robin M. accused Polanski of raping her when she was 16 years old, back in 1972. Robin M. said she would not be pressing charges, as the statute of limitations had run out on her case, but she would be willing to testify in court if Polanski were extradited to the U.S. for sentencing in the Samantha Geimer case, which Geimer herself has said she is opposed to. Robin said, "I'm speaking out now so Samantha and the world will know she is not the only minor Roman Polanski victimized." Another person, a California artist, Marianne Bernard, accused Polanski of sexually assaulting her in 1975 when she was just 10 years old. This was 2 years before he had fled the United States. The artist claims that the incident took place at a beach in California, following a photo shoot where the director asked her to pose naked. This was the pattern in all of his cases. We also have to note that these are just the ones that came forward with it. Marianne has suffered PTSD and claustrophobia since the incident. The most recent person to come forward was a French photographer, Valentine Monnier, who accused Polanski of violently molesting her in 1975 in his ski chalet in Switzerland when she was 18. This makes her the 6th person to come forward. Add that to the list of women who are still silent, and we have a massive predator running the show. In the 21st century, the Polanski case has been in the news twice. Once in 2003, when The Pianist was up for the Best Picture and Best Director Oscars, and again in 2009, when Polanski was arrested in Zurich, and extradition to the US became a real possibility. However, as always with celebrities, in the end, Switzerland ruled against extradition, and Polanski went free. In the meantime, the Polanski case has quietly continued to remain in stasis. In 2018, Polanski was expelled from the Academy. Recently, there was also criticism over the fact that it took them 40 years to ban someone for molesting a child, but it took just 2 weeks to ban someone for a slap. What do you think about Roman Polanski? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for your regular dose of whodunits. See you in the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay warm,